Good evening, guys, or good morning, good afternoon, whenever you may be listening to this. My name is Cooper. Welcome to episode 7. Welcome to episode 7 of the Yap-Sesh podcast. My name is Cooper. If you don't know what these are Yap sessions where I talk about whatever the hell I feel like talking about. And going off of the feedback that I last got, if you hear some volume, never mind, it's muted, cool. If you hear I got some feedback. Sorry, I got some feedback on the last podcast. I talked a little bit too much, personal yapping, a little bit too much when I have a main kind of thing to go for. With the episode. So last episode it was Am I the Asshole Reddit stories. I talked for about 30 minutes and then I did Am I the Asshole stories. Obviously you guys didn't really like that, so I'm only going to talk for a little bit about myself, what's going on, and then we're going to get into Reddit horror stories. And I think it's a pretty good thing to go from, just because I don't even know why I've been getting into dead meat kill counts recently. If you know that YouTube channel, I've been watching a lot of them, and I've been watching a lot of horror game Let's Plays for some reason. I'm on like a horror kick, so it's just been kind of what I'm doing, and I think it's a good transition. Also kind of fits with my personal, I don't know, interests at the moment. Besides that, what's been going on with me the last like 2 weeks? I think it's been 2 weeks since I've last uploaded. 2 weeks ago, yep. My birthday was recently, almost a week ago on the dot. Happy birthday to me. I got a brand new record player, and for the record player I had to buy 2 new speakers. So I have these speakers for my records, and they are so nice. I've been listening to them all day, and it's just the best thing ever. They're like the Edifier RT R1280Ts, and they're so good. Somebody on Reddit said that they weren't great and that they sucked. I don't know who the fuck wrote that. That's crazy to me. They're fantastic. They sound great. They have great they just have great audio quality, and it's awesome, and I love them. Other than that, not really a lot's been going on. There is definitely a trend with my main channel and this channel. Whenever I upload a video on my main channel, I sort of am like, I immediately am like, oh, I should probably upload a fucking Yap-Sesh, huh? And so, obviously, hence why I'm doing this immediately after uploading. It is 2 a.m. to fit the creepy story vibe. We're staying up late, and we're gonna get to that little 3 a.m. scary hour. So, with that being said, I hope you guys are good. I hope everything's going great with you guys. Thank you for tuning in. This podcast seems to be getting more and more popular the more we talk about, or the more it goes on. 11 or 13 views to 11 to 15 to 26, 45, and 70, which is great. I want to thank you guys so much. You guys are incredible. I hope that we can kind of keep projecting this in the right direction. And also thank you for the comments. I do want to shout out Yabba the First. He seems to be a very constant supporter of the channel. He's commented on the last 2 videos, so I do want to shout out him, just because it's awesome to see people that are continuing to support me. It warms my heart and it makes me so happy. So thank you guys. You guys are the best. One more thing I want to talk about before we segue into the horror stories is how unbelievably dumb modern streamers seem to be. It's bothering me. It's not bothering me is crazy, but it's almost frustrating how people can get away with making so much money but being so naive. It's unbelievable. Like, I watched Ludwig's video of the game show that he does. I don't watch any of them except the most recent one. It was Adapt Silky, I think is what his name is, and then Stable Ronaldo. It blows my mind how they know so little. and they're just like, what's your guys' high school GPA? Oh, mine's like a 2.7, mine's like a 2.1, mine's like a 2.9. What the fuck? Dude, are you fucking kidding me? High school was so fucking easy. I left with a 3.9. Like, what the fuck? What the fuck, dude? Like, how do you do that? Um, and then you flex it, and then you're like, I don't know nothing, LaMayo, I'm so dumb, ha ha ha. That's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. Like, it's definitely a very tough to watch video just because of how little that they know. Like, you don't know the four states of matter: solid, liquid, gas, plasma. You don't know that. Like, off the top of your head, you don't know that. That's embarrassing. Like, that it just frustrates me, man. Like, I don't know. And I'm hoping, obviously, the reason I'm doing this podcast and the reason I have a YouTube channel is that I can take off and get to a specific point where this either A, makes money and it's something that I'm proud of, and I have a fan base that I can appreciate and love and care after, and just see that, I don't know, make friends out of it, you know? Like, I want to have a fan base and people that I can, I don't know, be like, yeah, these are people that like me for me, and I like them for them, and I want to support them, and I want them to never feel alone. That's what my channel is for. It's for people to not feel alone, and I want them to support, and I want to support them all the time, because I know what it's like to be alone, and I don't want to let people do that. And so that's what this is for. That's why I started doing YouTube again. It was because I want people to not feel alone whenever they're in their lowest. And I used to do YouTube for that, and now I'm doing it again. Not because I'm necessarily at my lowest. I'm damn near it, but I'm working back out. This summer is going to be a great segment for me. It's going to be great. I hope. I'm getting a dog, so I hope. That's another life update. I'm going to be rescuing a dog. Haha. So that's good. I'm looking for a boxer or a beagle or a Weimaraner or a golden doodle, just because those are the dogs that shed the least. So, and Weimaraners or boxers are my dream dog. So I love them to death. Anyway, just uploaded a new video. Minecraft shared hardcore health is a bad idea. You guys should check it out. I play it with my best friend Zach. You should also check out the previous video. I played Minecraft hardcore until I beat the game. Those two videos, I went on a Minecraft trend just because I really liked the responses with the Minecraft video that I just posted. And then literally last night, me and Zach decided to play hardcore Minecraft shared health just to try it. And his Wi-Fi ended up dying, so we didn't actually end up finishing it, but it made for a pretty funny video. Very similarly edited to the way I did my solo hardcore, which, by the way, if you've watched that video and are watching this podcast, there is a second part coming. I just need to figure out when to stream it. It could be tomorrow. It could be Saturday. I'm not sure. So just stay tuned. Know it's on the way, but you got to give me a second. This is finals week. This is finals week, so just bear with me. It's on the way. Anyway, I tried to keep it under 10 minutes. We're at 8 minutes and 45 seconds, so there you go. We're going to get into some Reddit scary stories. These are going to be a little bit more longer-winded than the Am I the Asshole. We had a couple of short paragraphs. We had medium and large paragraphs. This is going to be like full-fledged stories. And so, without further ado, I hope you guys enjoy. I don't know if I'm going to put a game on this episode or if I'm going to put like a fireplace or something like that. Just because I want you guys to feel cozy, not necessarily hearing a horror story while I'm playing a video game. And I also don't think I have any footage to match this. I would have Battlefield 6, but I deleted it, so that can't happen. So, without further ado, I hope you guys enjoy. The first story that we're going to do is I Think My Son is a Serial Killer by Donovan221. He's a top 1% poster. This was posted 5 days ago on r/scary stories. We're going to do this one, and then we're going to go to most popular, and then we go from there. So, I tried my best. I really fucking tried. I didn't want parenthood, but when it's given to you, hell, it's hard not to fall in love with it. It has its ups and downs, sure, but through it all, you learn to love your child. They're an extension of you, a part of yourself that you can try and mold into an even better version. Unfortunately, people aren't as clean cut as that. You tell them to zig and they zag. It's just how life is. Beyond the disagreements and head bumping, though, it's still possible to raise a kid. Bring them up right in the world. That is what I thought I was doing. My son was well mannered, a gentleman, and God, he did have his way with the ladies. Once high school started, it seemed like every other week he was telling me about his new love or how he was sure this was the one. He was only 15, but who was I to cast doubt on whatever love life he found for himself? Plus, it all stayed at school, having those cafeteria dates and what have you. However, by 17, he was actually bringing girls over to meet us, having dinner with his mom and I. Sorry. Now, I'm not the best with names, but I do remember faces quite well. That's why when I started noticing the missing person flyers, I was quick to cock an eyebrow. But this is my son we're talking about. The boy I had raised since I was a child myself. I was 16 when he was born. I worked my ass off for him, and we grew up together. I could convince myself that everything was PG forever, though, and by the time I saw Miranda's name on one of those flyers, the most recent girl he brought home, I knew I had to talk to him. I needed to set things straight, give some relief to my suspicion. I begged God, prayed like a madman that I was wrong, but the more I thought, the more I started connecting dots. I never had one of these girls visit more than once or twice. I'd already caught my son sneaking out at night on multiple occasions. He seemed to always have those hollowed eyes whenever he interacted with any of them. When he talked about him, though, it was different. It was like he was truly excited, but not in that normal teenage boy kind of way. It was like when he talked to me about them, he was fantasizing, thinking about what he wanted to do to them. When I finally got home after a long day at the office, I practically sprinted up the stairs to my sunroom to inquire. To my disappointment, their room was empty and my son was nowhere to be seen. What I did find, though, were missing person flyers, folded neatly on his nightstand, each one depicting a different ex-girlfriend. Now, if it had just been the flyers themselves, I'd have been able to explain it away. Maybe he was just helping to hang them up, maybe he just run out to finish and forgotten to grab them. No, life can never be that easy. What made me realize that I needed to do more than just talk to my son was that had been written on the flyers. Scrawled across each flyer in the handwriting that I helped my boy practice with were complaints. Too loud, too demanding, too arrogant, too annoying. I sifted through the papers and by the end had read a total of 7 complaints. A tear fell down my face, streaming down the cheek, dipping into my newly discovered smile. I must have been in a trance because I didn't even hear the bedroom door open. All I remember is that faint, quiet, "Dad?" before I turned to greet my son. Emotion overwhelmed me, and all I can think to say is, as I outstretched my arms for a hug, was, "That's my boy." What the fuck? Holy shit. That's a crazy ass twist, dude. Damn, that's a crazy best twist, dude. Damn, good ass twist at the end. That's awesome. Ooh, especially when the fact that it was like the smile crept in or creeped in last second was really good too. Like you didn't know anything. It just sounded like a really distressed father until he wasn't. That was great. That was great. Um, we're gonna do this one called Ringing. Um, oh wait, never mind. Apparently this is an awful story. Oops. Um, ooh shit. This one's long, boys. This one's long. It was 3 hours ago. We'll wait until there's a better one. We'll wait until there's a better one. How many members are there in this? Because if there's a better one, then we'll see. Hold on. This is very like improper. I apologize. But um let's see here. Hmm. These are. I went to a different Reddit, but we're gonna try this one. R/horror stories. I didn't want to sleep anyways, so we're gonna try this one. I apologize for the brief silence. Forgive me. We're gonna try this one. This story is called "I Monitor Structural Integrity for the Hydroelectric Dams in Northern Quebec. We are holding back something much worse than water." Sounds like a good story to me. Uh, uh Sorry for the yawning. I am tired. I did not sleep, so forgive me. But we're gonna do this one, and then we're gonna kind of go back and forth from r/horror stories and r/scary stories, and just kind of see which one's better. And then we're just gonna end out on the last few that of the Reddit that I think is better. So with that being said, let's tune into this one. Most people don't understand the sheer scale of the James Bay project. If you look at a map of northern Quebec, it's mostly green and blue, taiga forests and thousands of lakes. But threaded through that wilderness is a network of megastructures. We're talking about dams the size of mountains, holding back reservoirs so massive that they actually alter the local climate. Millions of tons of concrete poured into the middle of absolute nowhere. I work as a freelance acoustic engineer, mostly contracted by the province. My job is to listen to the concrete. Dams settle, they crack, they experience microfractures due to the intense temperature fluctuations between the minus 40-degree winters and the crushing weight of the water. I lower hydrophones into the reservoirs and plant geophones along the inspection galleries to make sure the walls aren't dying. 3 days ago, I was helicoptered out into the auxiliary spillway, a remote containment barrier about 200 kilometers east of Radisson. It's a quote-unquote dead dam. No turbines, no power generation. It just sits at the edge of a massive black reservoir, redirecting the flow toward the main generating stations. The only person stationed there was Giles, a maintenance tech 2 years out of retirement, who lived in a modular trailer near the crest of the dam. I was sent up because the automated telemetry was feeding back anomalous vibration data from Gallery C, about 80 meters below the waterline. The engineers down in Montreal thought it was a malfunctioning sensor, but protocol dictated a manual inspection. When I landed, the freeze had already started. The wind coming off the reservoir felt like it was peeling the skin off my face. Damn. Giles met me at the helipad. He was quiet, thick-shouldered guy who smoked cheap cigars and didn't seem particularly thrilled to see me. When I asked him about the vibrations, he just shrugged. "Ice expanding," he muttered in a heavy, accented English. "Happy's every November. His sensors are too sensitive." But when we went down into the dam, his body language changed. If you've never been inside of a large dam, it's deeply unsettling. You take an elevator down into the core of the concrete structure. It's like a network of narrow, dimly lit tunnels called inspection galleries. It smells like wet dust and calcium. It's freezing cold, and the walls are always weeping condensation. But the worst part is the feeling of pressure. We were standing at the bottom of a concrete wall, acutely aware that millions of cubic meters of freezing black water are pressing against the other side, wanting nothing more than to erase you. We walked down to Gallery C in silence, my breath plumed in the cold air. At Sector 4, right where the sensor had tripped, I stopped. I didn't need my equipment to hear it. It was a deep, resonant thud. It vibrated through the soles of my steel-toed boots. It sounded like a massive, muffled heartbeat coming from the other side of the 3-meter-thick concrete wall. Thud. 10 seconds of silence. Thud. "Ice," Giles said immediately. He didn't look at the wall. He stared straight down the corridor toward the elevator. Large seats breaking against the face of the barrier. "The water carries the sound." "Giles," I said, pulling my acoustic tablet from my pack. "Ice shears. It grinds and cracks. It doesn't strike with a rhythmic, low-frequency pulse." I pressed a contact microphone against the weeping concrete. I watched the waveform leap on my screen. I saved the recording and ran a quick comparative analysis. My stomach performed a slow, sickening roll. This isn't an impact from the surface, I told him, pointing at the readout. The acoustic epicenter is originating 50 meters down. The water is liquid at that depth. There is no ice. Giles finally looked at me. His eyes were completely hollow. He looked like a man who exhausted his capacity for denial, leaving only a bone-deep exhaustion. Finish your readings, he said quietly. I am going back up. He left me alone in the gallery. I spent the next hour mapping the acoustic profile. I wish I hadn't. I really wish I just packed up and left with him. The sound wasn't a mechanical failure. I realized this is when the rhythm shifted. It wasn't a steady, automated pulse. It wasn't searching. It would strike, thud, and then wait. A few minutes later, it would strike again, slightly higher on the wall, with a slightly different frequency. As an acoustic engineer, I know about resonant frequencies. Every structure, no matter how massive, has a natural frequency. If you match that frequency with a strong enough vibration, the structure would tear itself apart. Whatever was on the other side of that wall was testing the concrete. It was striking the dam, listening to the reverberation, and adjusting its next strike, trying to find the exact pitch it required to shatter the barrier. And it was massive. Based on the low-end displacement I was recording on my tablet, the low point of impact was roughly the size of a shipping container. I bolted. I didn't care about the gear. I sprinted down the gallery, the echoes of my boots masking the terrible, methodical thumping from the deep water, and I smashed the button for the elevator. When I reached the surface, the sun had set. The sky was a bruised purple, and the vast expanse of the reservoir was a sea of black ink. I ran to Giles' trailer. The door was unlocked. He was sitting at a small kitchen table, a half-empty bottle of sortilege whiskey in front of him. He wasn't drinking. He was just listening. In the quiet of the trailer, without the millions of tons of concrete muting the sound, I could hear it coming from the water outside. Thud. A faint tremor rattled the coffee mug on the counter. They built the dams in the 70s, Giles said, his voice barely a whisper. He didn't look at me. Floated in an area the size of New York State. Drowned the forest, drowned the valleys, drowned the deep trenches. They thought they were just harnessing power. What's out there, Giles? I demanded, my voice cracking. I have to call a structural emergency. If that wall fractures, this reservoir empties into the La Grande River system, he interrupted smoothly. And then the next dam breaks. And then the next. A cascading failure. Trillions of gallons of water rushing south, clearing the way. Clearing the way for what? Giles finally looked up. He pointed a shaking finger toward the window, at the miles of freezing black water. For whatever we trapped at the bottom of the trench 50 years ago, he said, it's done sleeping, and it's figuring out how to open the door. I didn't wait for that morning helicopter. I took Giles' company truck, and I drove the logging road south through the night. I didn't stop until I reached the Val d'Or. I submitted my report this morning. I claimed it was a geological fault shifting beneath the reservoir, causing acoustic anomalies. I knew they won't believe me, but if I tell them the truth, they'll put me in a psychiatric ward. But I'm writing this because you need to know. Look at a map of Quebec. Look at the massive, unnatural blue veins we've carved into the north. I'm sitting in a hotel room in Montreal right now. It's supposed to be safe here. But about 10 minutes ago, I poured a glass of water and set it on the nightstand. I can see the surface of the water rippling. It's a very faint, rhythmic vibration traveling through the bedrock from hundreds of miles away. Thud. It found the frequency. Damn. Dude, whoever writes these does such a good job of making it do just a fantastic motion. I don't even know what you want to say. It feels fluid. No pun intended with the whole water situation, dam situation, but it just felt so smooth from beginning to end. The storytelling, the details. It's almost like I knew exactly where he was. And for it to end like that is just, God, that's a form of art, dude. Oh, that's a form of art. That was freaking awesome. Ugh, that was freaking awesome. Wow. Okay. Okay. All right. This is awesome. Okay. This is going to be on r/scary stories. This is a deleted user from 6 years ago. Emergency alert. Do not look outside your windows. Emergency alert. Warning. This is not a test. I repeat, this is not a test. Citizens of the world, lock all doors. Close all of your blinds. Do not go near any windows. Do not look outside. Do not leave your house. Stay in a room with no windows. Gather what supplies you can. Turn all the lights off. Do not open the door for anything. Good start. When I first heard it, it didn't even sound real. It sounded fake, like something in a horror movie. But it was an emergency, so I decided I should probably do what they tell me. I grabbed a flashlight, a pillow, my phone charger, food, and basic other stuff to keep me entertained while this stuff happened. I had no idea what was going on, but once I got into my bathroom and got comfy, I texted my parents asking them if they got the alert. They also did. They said the citizens of the world. Did they actually broadcast that to the world? I asked myself. So I texted an internet friend that lives across the world, and they said they got it too. Same exact message. And to be honest, it's kind of scary they tell you what to do, but not what's going on, and people are scared of that. 20 minutes later. Emergency alert. This is not a test. I repeat, this is not a test. Unknown creatures have been knocking on people's doors and been killing people that open the door. There are 5 major hotspots: Washington, D.C., Tokyo, Toronto, Moscow, and London. They have been located all around, but it seems as if they are attacking those first. This is an invasion. Stay in your rooms. Do not open any doors. Do not look outside. They can kill you instantly with just a look. May God help us all. Emergency nuke sirens are going off. Tornado sirens are going off. What is going on? Is this a prank? How can an invasion be real? Are aliens real? How can I even comprehend that? I heard car alarms going off. I hear things being destroyed. They are here. They are killing. It sounds like a war zone out there, but without any guns. What can the government do? Just shoot them? But they would die looking at them. There's no possible way we could ever survive this. We are going to die. I text my parents, but no answer. I text my brother and sister, no answer. I start to panic now. What if my family's gone? And all I can do is listen to other people's families get murdered. The nuke sirens have started again, and they're very loud, shaking my whole apartment. I wonder what the other people in my building are thinking. Probably like me. This is the end of the world. Everyone on this planet will die. I hear a knock on my door. I don't answer it. I hear someone screaming for me to open it. I mean, it sounded human. Should I open it? No, that would be stupid. Emergency alert. This is not a test. I repeat, this is not a test. The extraterrestrial are attacking every major city in the world. There's a lot of them. We have not found out what they want. Stay inside. Millions, if not billions, are dead. Stay inside. It's as if the government has given up now. There's no way to fight, and these messages are less helpful each time they come on. If billions are dying, then I don't know how we can survive this. I mean, I have so far, but it doesn't sound like for long. I hear buildings being destroyed. I hear cars being destroyed. My building has been hit a few times, and I'm hearing my world crumble before me. At this point, there's no reason to hope anymore. There's so many dying, and there's so much chaos. They will get everyone. I would love to know what one of these things just looks like, but if I see them, I die. I hope someone takes a picture, and if we do survive, I want to see it. I want to see what's killing us. But the end is nowhere near, and I don't even know how many people we have left. Should I just kill myself? Maybe I should die before they get me. I don't want to die by those things. Plus, what if I do survive and get survivor's guilt? Then there's no way Emergency alert. This is not a test. I repeat, this is not a test. The extraterrestrial have left, and left billions of people dead. If you are alive, please tap the button on your phone now. If on the radio, tune into 104 and state your name and city. We will update you in 20 minutes. There's no way I'd want to live. That's not what I was going to say. And yet, that's what I was going to say. And yet, somehow, I'm actually alive. Do I want to die now? Well, no. But how many people are alive? What did these things want? Why did they attack us? There's so many questions I could even ask right now. At this point, all we can do is try to figure out some numbers and restart society. How can a war like ours can recover from something like this? How long until society's normal again? Will humanity ever be the same? I don't know. What I do know is that I could have lost everything. I would text my friends and family and come back with some numbers. This is not a test. I repeat, this is not a test. We've reported a little over 1 billion people accounted for. Not every country has the technology, so we will investigate those countries in the coming months. We do not understand what these creatures wanted, nor what they have taken. In the next month or two, we'll be figuring out the next steps for humanity. May God help us all. Only 3 people I know survived. My sister, my uncle, and my best friend. Everyone else is dead. I want to kill myself, but at the same time, humanity needs me. We need each other to continue human life. Only time will tell what to do next, if there is anything next. Edit. It's 2 weeks later. The guilt is too much. I'm a fucking coward. Goodbye. Dude. I don't even know how to even, for these sorts of stories that I'm doing, sometimes I don't even know, if I should just, finish a story and then quietly move on to another one, or, just comment after. But these are so good. So fucking good. It's almost incredible. Just wow. We're gonna keep on the r/scary stories. We're just gonna do the all time and then go from there. If you've read these before, I'm sorry, but I just haven't, and I'm so thrilled just to see these. So let's see what's next. We're gonna do the second most popular one. This is a relatively short one. It's not gonna take forever. It's not even gonna take, probably only gonna take 5 minutes, but it's a part 1. Apparently people want a part 2. It's just called Run by Out of Tune 7. Run. And if you can't run, then walk. And if you can't walk, then crawl. But whatever you do, do not stop. It's only been an hour since everyone on Earth, as far as I can tell, heard those same words. I was already walking through the park when I heard them, and after seeing what happens, I won't be stopping anytime soon. It's been 2 hours now. I've kept walking. I'm tired, but stopping is not an option. Some people try driving, but the act of getting in a car requires stopping, even for the briefest moment. And those already driving, when they heard the rules, soon find out. It's impossible to move indefinitely in a vehicle, especially in a crowded city. Their screams kept me moving. It's been 4 hours now, and I'm exhausted. But the only thing pushing me forward is the fear of what awaits when I stop. And yes, I mean when. Proven by plenty of those around me, eventually I'll have to stop. Some have just given up, accepting their fate only to immediately regret the decision. Some just couldn't take the screams anymore, and most simply don't see the point of continuing. And with every step, I'm starting to become more like the latter. It's been about 6 hours, and for the first time I saw what happens up close. I was walking aimlessly down an alley, trying to get away from the madness, when I saw a man no more than 16 crying. It didn't even register at first to me until he made eye contact with me. He had stopped moving. His eyes were bloodshot, not just whites around his pupils. I mean, the entirety of his eyes were crimson red. Black tears streamed down his expressionless face, and then he smiled. A wide, toothy smile that would have screamed of joy if it wasn't followed by animalistic screams that would have given the biggest horror fanatic nightmares. I wish I could say witnessing these dying moments was the most horrific thing to happen to me today. But then it hit me. The realization that I had stopped moving. Oh shit, dude, these are so good. These are so good. These sort of stories, like I'm not even a huge reader. It's these stories that I'm reading that make me want to go grab a horror book and start reading that book. Like these are so engaging from the get-go. It's unbelievable, man. Like, oh my god. Oh, this is fantastic. This is fantastic. Um oh, this is awesome. Um let's see. Let's see. Okay, this one's very highly rated and it's very long. Oh, it's very long. All right, it's going to take a little while. It's from 2 months ago. Mr. Unheimlich. I'm hoping I'm saying that right. Or Heimlich. 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 I'm going to say Heimlich. My town is haunted by a witch. If she knocks on your door, you must let her in. Let's hope this doesn't take that long, boys, but we might be here for a little bit. Sorry, had to yawn. If you don't already, if you're in the car driving, or if you're just playing a game or something like that, I hope you have a snack. I hope you have a good bev, and I hope you're playing one of your favorite games, and I'm hoping you're all cozied up and just really happy, because I really hope that all of you are happy, because y'all being happy makes me happy. So, with that being said, I live in an old New England town. Legend has it that for 300 years, it's been haunted by Zuriel the Witch. We learn about Zuriel on school grounds. Older kids teach the younger voices low and older kids teach the younger voices low and eyes glimmering. She will knock on your door in the form of a traveler asking for a glass of water. You will know it's her because despite claiming that she's terribly thirsty, she will not touch the water after you offer her. There are 5 rules you must follow when Zuriel knocks on your door. You must let her in. You must be friendly at all times. You must not show that you're afraid of her. You must not let her out of your sight. And you must not let her pass the first room of your house. When someone dies in a domestic accident, whispers circulate that they received a visit from Zuriel and didn't follow the rules. Some claim to have met her and survived, but she changes appearance every time, and accounts are impossible to verify. Many grown-ups would deny believing in Zuriel, but when entering a house in our town, one will usually find a glass and bottle of water kept by the front door, just in case a stranger stops by. I am a skeptic, or rather, I used to be until recently. Sure, Zuriel scared me as a child. When I heard someone knocking on my parents' door, I would run to my room and lock myself in. Zuriel never came. As I got older, I did my research on her. It turns out a woman by the name of Zuriel really lived in our town. According to historical records, she was a spinster of most ill-favored countenance, who lived alone at the edge of the woods. Long suspected of being troubled by an unclean spirit, she was much disliked by the townsfolk. They complained that she continually intruded upon their property. In 1734, after Zuriel had not been seen for weeks, a pious old man went to check on her. She found Zuriel's decomposing body lying in her shed, her throat cut almost to the bone. Although some young men had been heard declare that they would rid the town of the foul witch, they were never prosecuted. This haunting nonsense was the result of a sad page of history, I concluded. After I married and moved into a new house with my husband, he insisted on keeping a glass and a bottle of water by the front door. I did not want to, but I figured it wasn't a matter worth fighting over. Last Friday, around 3 p.m., I just put down my son down for a nap when I heard knocking at the door. I absent-mindedly opened the door to a woman about 40 who I've never seen before. She was in hiking clothes. Not surprising, this area is known for its nature trails. Hi, can I help you? Hi, I'm so sorry to bother you. A stylish bob encircled her pleasant face. Even with sweat purling on her forehead, she looked polished. I thought she must have come from a big city. May I ask you for a glass of water? My bottle's empty and I'm so very thirsty. She smiled at me apologetically. A hiker asking for a glass of water. That's it. You must let her in. Of course. Please come in. Oh, that's so kind of you. Are you sure I'm not bothering you? No bother at all. She bashfully walked through the door I held open for her. A split second crossed through my mind. Slammed the door in her face. I didn't, of course. In the blink of an eye, the hiker was inside my house. She hovered by the entrance politely. I hovered towards the kitchen, then remembered the glass and water bottle sitting right next to me. You must not let her out of your sight. Well, why not? As I poured the water, she glided from the entrance to the couch and sat down. I did not like that. She must have noticed, because a flicker of guilt tightened her features. You must be friendly at all times. I responded with a bright smile, handing her the glass. That's when I noticed she had no backpack, no pouch, not even a water bottle. I took a deep breath to push down the panic that had started swelling up. I sat in front of her. You been hiking? I chirped. I just did the mountain loop, she replied enthusiastically. It was so pretty. Without drinking any of it, she set the glass on her lap. It's one of my favorites, I responded. Her fingers gripped the glass. She didn't drink it. And it's such a nice day today, I continued. It was lovely. Almost too hot. Her face beamed with sweat. A drop rolled from her forehead to her chin. It fell into her lap. She still did not drink. My eyes snapped up to her. She was staring at me, staring at her. You must be friendly at all times. I laughed a horrendous laugh. Yeah, I love it when it's hot. She laughed along. Inside me, the adult woman disappeared, and I became that little girl who wanted to lock herself in her room again. Have you been in the area before? I asked, forcing my voice to sound even. It's my first time visiting, she responded cheerfully. Have you been here long? I was born here, I said, then fearing I was lacking in amiability. I exclaimed, wouldn't want to live anywhere else. Of course. Such a lovely place, and everyone seems so nice. Her gaze shifted to a photo of me, my husband, and my son. What a cutie, she whispered, narrowing her eyes. Revulsion twisted my stomach. Smash the frame in her face, I thought. I didn't, of course. I sat perfectly still and pushed out a timid, thank you. She turned to me with a proud smile. You know, I have a son the same age. He's with his dad now. Unfortunately, we're divorced, but we maintain a good friendship. That's so important for a child. Yeah, so important, I stammered, taken aback. She stood up, leaving the glass on the coffee table. Well, so sorry for bothering you. I'll be on my way before it gets dark. A wave of relief rushed through me. Of course, no bother at all. She trotted to the front door. I had to stifle a laugh. Awoken from a bad dream, I was back in the land of the living. I hope you enjoy the rest of your trip. Her hand pushed down the door handle and let it back up. One last thing, she said. May I use your restroom? Cold dread enveloped me before her words even ranged my brain. You must not let her pass the first room of your house. I'm sorry, but the restroom's out of order. Is that so? She asked as she breezed right back to the seat in front of me. Why? My pulse went wild. It's clogged. We've had an awkward incident earlier. I cackled. She winked. Whoops. I can have a look if you like. I'm pretty savvy with small repairs. Oh no, you don't have to. There's a public restroom right across the street in the park. I pointed at the window. My head trembled. It was already dark outside. That was impossible. Sunset was supposed to be hours away. It hadn't been in my house for more than a few minutes. I would love to repay your hospitality, she insisted, eyes wide and eager. My husband is about to come home from work. He will do it. You know men. I leaned towards her, displaying the most conniving smile I could muster. They like to feel useful. She played along. I get it. Since my husband left, I've had to learn to do it all by myself. I admire your independence. Thank you for saying that. It means a lot. She seemed genuinely flattered. I was not doing too bad, I thought. A peering cry rose from upstairs. Mommy! My son had woken up. He is an anxious baby. At 2 years old, he's only started to sleep on his own. Whenever he wakes up and doesn't find us, he goes into a panic. I almost shot up from my seat, but I managed to reel myself in. Do you want to go get him? She asked me gently. You must not let her out of your sight. That's okay. He needs to get used to it. Mommy, he screams again. He had a way of sounding like absolutely terrible was happening, which it was. He screamed again. His voice broke, but he kept on screaming. What if he was actually hurt? She sat perfectly still, grinning at me. Are you sure he is okay? Her question somewhat sounded like a threat. You must not let her out of your sight. I nodded vigorously. We're training him to sleep on his own. Listening to the pleas of my hurting baby was near unbearable. I reminded myself of all the people, all the children who had died in the tragic circumstances. He broke his neck dripping down the stairs. She choked on her food. The little one drank a bottle of bleach. They were visited by Zuriel. The rumors, they always said. And if they didn't follow the rules. I've never seen a mother like you, she said. I ignored the provocation. How about your little one? I had to raise my voice over my son's cries. Does he sleep on his own? She lit up at the mention of her child. He sleeps like an angel. My daughter, on the other hand, is like yours. She wanted to be held all the time. You have a daughter too? Yes, I do, she snapped, as if I was doubting her. My son abruptly went silent. That alarmed me even more. Why did he stop? I fiercely wanted to go check on him. See? I said instead. He calmed down. You're a very interesting woman, she responded, and shuffled forward. Her knees almost touched mine. I'm really enjoying getting to know you. I did not budge, swallowing my disgust. Me too. It's nice to see a new face around here. Maybe, I jumped to the abyss, maybe we could be friends. Her eyebrows shot up. Her eyes widened. Her lips parted. I would love that, she breathed. A rush of emotion flushed her cheeks. A web of red veins flared beneath her skin that began to swell, morphing into elongated red warts. You must not show that you're afraid of her. Wait, what did you think of the hike? I spluttered, desperate to fill the silence. It was amazingly lovely, she thrilled, while one of her eyes turned gray. What else do you suggest I do in the area? I held on to that question like a life raft. If you love nature, I would recommend the National Wildlife Refuge and paddleboarding on the river. Her hair vanished one by one, leaving only a few disheveled clumps on a bald head. You must not show you're afraid of her. A walk downtown is great for shopping. Aunt Rita's kitchen serves the best clam chowder in town. Her teeth blackened. Strains of yellow saliva stretched between the upper and lower arcade. I waged war against every one of my muscles to not look away. For culture lovers, the local museum has great artifacts. One side of her face went moldy. A worm wriggled out of her ear and slid inside her eye socket. I smiled hard. Let's not forget about the Civil War background. A slit appeared on her throat from side to side. Dark blood came pouring out, indurating her clothes, my couch, my carpet. Her head fell backwards. The wound was spread apart like two halves of steak, exposing her sliced-off windpipe. Only a thin layer of skin kept the head from rolling away. Yet, from an absurd angle, her one eye was still set on me. My smile did not falter. You can always catch a performance at the art center? The lights flickered. My personal favorites are the dance shows. All the lights went out with a pop, except the overhead light. It flickered desperately. The thought of being alone in the dark with her was so terrifying, my heart nearly stopped. You must not show you're afraid of her. I thought about my son sleeping peacefully in his crib, the sun rising on the ocean, a fluffy kitten drinking from a bowl of milk. For drinks, there's a little bar by the river. The lights went out. I opened my mouth to scream. In the blink of an eye, the lights came on. I sucked in the scream before it could ring out. You must not show You're afraid of her. She looked like a preppy 40-year-old lady hiker again. No sign of a neck wound. Her clothes were clean. So were my couch and carpet. Outside, the day was bright again. I allowed myself a breath of relief. Maybe this was it. I passed the test. She would be gone now. Thank you for that, she said softly. Since there's so much to do around here, maybe I should stay for a few more days. My throat tightened. What a great idea. She looked around the room pensively. Do you have a guest room? I would love to stay if you'll have me. Despair hooked its fingers into my inside. We don't have a guest room, unfortunately. I would have loved to have you stay with us. That's a shame. What if I slept on the couch? We would not want you to be uncomfortable. I don't need much. This looks perfectly comfortable. My son's a rambunctious kid. So? Didn't I tell you I'm a mom too? Yes. You don't believe me? Yes, of course. I was losing ground, and I felt the energy leaving me. It almost sounds like you're making up excuses not to have me. Didn't you say you wanted to be friends? Yes, of course. Mommy? I had not heard him come in. My son was standing in the doorframe. He clutched his teddy bear, chubby cheeks, streaked with dried up tears. She looked just as startled as I was. He must have climbed out of his toddler bed, I said, forcing cheerfulness. I held up my arms to him. Honey, come here. Instead, he directed his unsteady little feet towards her. She must not show you're afraid of her. Hello, little man, she exclaimed, baring her teeth at him. I was now trembling from head to toe. She stretched out her hand and wiggled her long nailed fingers. My son wobbled closer to her. I wanted to scream, yank him away from her, run, but because I didn't know what the right thing to do was, I sat still, paralyzed. You must not show that you're afraid of her. Would you like me to stay here with you? She said in a cringe-worthy baby voice. No, no. Say no, I yelled inside my head. My son gave her a toothless smile, that smile of pure delight only little children are capable of. She widened her grin, pushed her demonic hand further towards him. The room around me started shaking. Every nerve in my body twisted. My son put his teddy bear in her outstretched hand like a friendship offering. Time stopped. Her mouth trembled, smile morphing into a sorrowful grimace. She gripped the teddy bear and brought it to her heart. Finally, she let out a long, painful breath. I'm sure your child wants his mommy to himself, she finally murmured. I'll be on my way. She slowly rose and set the teddy bear on the couch. It was great to have. Thank you for your kindness. She ever so slightly stroked my hand with her fingers. And then, just as swiftly as she came, she was gone. It's been 7 days since she visited. I've been watching my husband and son like a hawk, expecting them to trip, fall, get burned, or some other terrible thing. No one got hurt. Life is beginning to feel normal again, but around 3 p.m. every afternoon, I feel a pang of pain on my hand, right where she touched me. Absolute cinema. What a good read. What an absolute good read. This person, Pretty Enthusiasm, wrote a good comment. Very entertaining. Maybe all that the witch wanted was some companionship and to be accepted. So at the end, when the son gives her his teddy bear and doesn't push her away at first, all the family is spared. The curse has to go on anyway. She was killed without a reason, so therefore the itching pain in her hand appearance has to be preserved so people remember. Wow. Wow, what a good read, dude. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, what a good read. Okay, we're gonna do one or two more, and then we're gonna call it just because this, it's been about 55 minutes. Time has flown by. I literally didn't even look at the time, and then last I looked at the time, it was like 1:55, and now it's almost 3, so we're almost at spooky hour. Next one is from Alima, 2007, story from 6 years ago. The title is 911 Call. 911, what's your emergency? Help me. What's your emergency? Please come now. Sir, what's your name? Alex. How old are you, Alex? 8. And what's your emergency? It keeps staring. Are you alone, Alex? I have my sister with me. Who keeps staring at you? Shh, please. Alex, the thing. Describe it to me, Alex. It has big, reddish eyes, it doesn't have a nose, and it's very white. Its mouth is covered in red, and its smile is really big. Anything else? Yeah, it has short black hair. And is it staring at you through a window? No. It's with us in the room. Alex, keep in touch with me, okay? Okay. Where do you live? Midday Town, Cloudy Street, House 188. Okay, Alex. Will you come soon? Yes. Don't worry. Stay where you are. Don't make noise. Okay. Alex, are you fine? No. What happened? It keeps sticking its white skinny fingers on my bed. Alex, don't worry, okay? How? It took my sister. It took your sister? Yes, help. Okay, stay calm, Alex. Don't cry. Where are your parents? They were upstairs. I think I went upstairs and got them too. So you're alone now? Yes. Do you have any neighbors? Yes, but they're all gone. Okay, Alex. Keep speaking to me. The police are on their way. Alex? Alex? Alex screams. Alex? Alex screams again. Alex, are you there? Alex. Ripping noises. Alex? Phone call declined. That one was small, but like good. I mean, it's chilling. I wish there was like a little bit more detail into like I don't know. It was a small story. It was a good one. If it was to be longer, I would more details would be cool. But damn, I understood. I can envision the whole room. I can envision Alex. I can envision the 911 operator. I can envision the monster in like perfect detail. That was fantastic too. So, hey, you know what? No complaints from me. I apologize. Let's see. The last story. Let's see. One last story. Let's see. I'm stuck between two. I might end up reading two. My wife has been missing for 15 years until she called my phone out of the blue, and someone is still on the moon. Here's how I know. Ooh. I'm gonna do my wife has been missing. It's long, and there is a part two. So if you guys, this is what we'll do. We'll end it on this one, and if you guys want me to do another one, I'll read part two. Bang. That's how you keep freaking audience engagement, if I've ever seen it. So, without further ado, let's do it. Sorry for the awkward silence. I, for some reason, lost my words. Alrighty. I don't like to talk about what happened 15 years ago. I don't even like to think about the fact that on January 7th, 2008, Sarah Collins, beloved member of the community, left home to run an errand and was never seen again. It was a huge case back then. Everyone seemed to want to know what happened to her, but no one was more desperate for answers than I was. Sarah and I have been married for 5 years. I knew as soon as I met her that I wanted to spend the rest of my life with her. She had one of those smiles that just lit up a room. That's why it was so hard to believe that such a beautiful, successful woman seemingly disappeared. They hadn't even recovered her body 15 years later, and they still didn't have a shred of evidence. Not a tire track, not even a fingerprint, nothing. The police put out an appeal, but no one came forward. Somehow, not a single person had seen her. It was like she had just vanished without a trace. I think about Sarah a lot. I could never quite bring myself to take down the photos of her from the house. Sarah's bright face still smiles down at me from every room. There's one photo of her from our wedding day that I really love. Looking at it, it's like looking straight at her. It captured her perfectly. 2 days ago, I found myself staring at it, really getting lost in the details. Her eyes, the way that the corners of her mouth were lifting into a smile, the small dimple on her left cheek. I was looking at it so intently that I almost didn't notice the phone ringing. It was the landline phone, which was odd. as no one ever called me on the landline anymore. It was all mobiles nowadays. When I looked at the caller ID, it was an unknown number. I shrugged and picked it up anyway. It's probably just the bank calling to confirm something. The call took a moment to connect, but when it did, I heard a strange rustling sound on the other end of the line. Hello? I wasn't in the mood for any prank callers. Is anyone there? Hello? Daniel? Daniel, thank goodness I finally reached you. The voice on the end of the line was a woman's voice, shaking and breathless. Daniel, it's me, Sarah. Are you there? When I heard her name, it's like my heart stopped beating for a moment. Sarah. My Sarah. That's impossible. Sarah had gone missing 15 years ago. Whoever this was, it was not my wife. I don't know who you are, but you're not Sarah. I hissed into the phone, coldly. Stop calling this number. I had dealt with a lot of these calls, especially when Sarah first went missing. Con artists, fraudsters, anyone who wanted to manipulate a grieving husband. I knew none of them were my wife. No, Daniel, wait, you have to listen to me. It's me, Sarah. You have to believe me. She was sounding shrill and desperate now, even a little hysterical. The lengths that people go in order to sell a lie is astonishing. Why are you doing this? I asked angrily. It's been 15 years since my wife disappeared. What do you want from me? For a moment, the woman on the other line didn't respond. I was beginning to think that the call had disconnected when she finally spoke. Daniel, please, it's me, your wife, Sarah, the woman begged. I'm telling the truth, it's me. She continued to plead, but I had had enough. I wasn't going to listen to this liar anymore. Don't call this number again, I firmly told her, hanging up. I thought that would do it. She wouldn't be likely to call me again. I assumed it was over. The next day, I asked a friend to help me repair my plumbing system. He was a good friend. I'd known him since college. He'd been there for me when Sarah disappeared, getting me through it. We were both taking a break, catching up on the important events in each other's lives, when my landline phone began to ring again. Sorry, I have to take this. It might be important, I said, getting up from my seat and making my way to the phone. I noticed that the call was coming from an unknown number just the day before. I didn't make a connection right away. After all, it could have been the bank this time around. I picked up the phone, and I heard the same rustling sound. It was unsettling, in a strange way. I almost felt like I had heard it before, just couldn't put my finger on it. Hello? I was already beginning to get a good idea of what this call was, and I wasn't happy about it. I told you not to call this number. Daniel, thank goodness I finally reached it. The very same words she said before. Daniel, it's me. It's Sarah. Are you there? It was undoubtedly the same woman. I don't have time for this. I hissed at the phone. I know you're not Sarah. Stop calling me. I hung up the call and walked back to my friend, who looked confused. Who was that? He asked me. I heard you saying Sarah's name. Is everything okay? It was some prank caller, pretending to be Sarah. I told him, rolling my eyes. I thought I'd left it all behind. I even changed my phone number. I don't know how this woman got a hold of my new one. Pretending to be Sarah? My friend echoed. That's really strange. Did you tell anyone about it? Like the police? No. I shake my head. There's no need. It's just someone trying to cause a bit of drama. They probably want money or something like that. I made it clear that it was the end of the conversation. I didn't want to continue talking about it, bringing up harmful reminders of the past. I woke up the next day, not expecting to get any more calls from the unknown number. I made it very clear that I wouldn't be participating in her charade. However, I was quickly proven wrong. As soon as I started to walk downstairs for a glass of water, the phone rang again. I thought about letting it ring, but I had a better idea. I was going to issue a much stronger warning to the caller, even threatened to get the police involved if the calls wouldn't stop. That would scare her. I was certain of it. I picked up the phone, heard the very same eerie rustling. I couldn't explain it, but it made a shiver run up my spine. Finally, the call connected. It was just the same as the other times, the same pathetic monologue. Daniel, thank goodness I finally reached you. Maybe it was just even a recorded message. Daniel, it's me. It's Sarah. Are you there? If you don't stop calling this number, I have no choice but to involve the police. I told the caller, this is harassment. If you want my money, try conning someone else. Before I could even give the woman on the other line a chance to answer, I hung up the call. Hopefully this would show her that she wouldn't be manipulating me. I could see right through her elaborate scam. I was sure the warning would stop the calls from coming in. I was so sure of myself that when I was woken by a loud and persistent ringing the next morning, I didn't even think to connect it to the unknown number calls. I first assumed it was my alarm waking me up, but when I turned to look, I saw that the alarm hadn't gone off yet. This is when I reached the conclusion that it was the landline phone. I rushed to the stairs, wanted to tell the caller that I would be taking police action, wanted to catch the desperate scammer. Fortunately, I got there in time and I picked up the phone. Holding it to my ear, I heard that creepily rustling that I became familiar with. It still made my heart beat faster, just for the few seconds until the call connected. Daniel? Daniel, thank goodness I finally reached you. The usual message of hysteria came through the phone. I was well used to hearing it by now. Daniel, it's me, Sarah. Are you there? I gave you a warning. I said that if you called again, I'd be taking legal action. I spoke into the phone loudly, so that whoever was on the other line would be sure to hear me. You've gone too far now. I have to do something about this. I waited for the woman to respond. Daniel? No, it's me. I'm not lying to you. I would never lie to you, Daniel. Daniel, it's me, Sarah, your wife. It's me. I can't stand the high-pitched whine of her voice. You're not Sarah, I told her bitterly. I know you're not Sarah. I will be taking action. Goodbye. I hung up the call for the final time and placed the phone back. I know that woman wasn't Sarah. I know for a fact she wasn't. I know it because on January 7th, 2008, Sarah Collins, beloved member of the family, was killed, and I was the one who killed her. Oh my God. Sarah was an incredibly beautiful woman. I couldn't believe my luck when she first started showing interest in me. I didn't exactly have a lot of experience talking to women, and I was ecstatic that someone like Sarah had chosen someone like me. I loved her. For every single second of our marriage, I loved her. Even when I found out that she was cheating on me, I had accidentally stumbled across a string of romantic messages between Sarah and one of her coworkers. She was planning to leave me for him. Sarah, my Sarah, was planning to leave me for him. I couldn't have that. She was so beautiful, so bright, so full of life. I couldn't lose her. I just couldn't lose her. So I killed her. I didn't have to think about it for long. The only way that she would be mine forever, if she was dead. She would never leave me. She would always be my Sarah. When the police arrived, I made an elaborate lie that she had gone on a run, an errand, and never came home. That very same lie ended up on headlines of the national news. I didn't know if I would get away with it, but a year passed, and then another year, and then another. 15 years passed, and no one ever saw through me. I was about to walk back upstairs when I heard a small tapping on the window. Click, click. That was the sound of the window opening, and that's when I heard it. Wrestling. Right here in my own house. Wrestling that paralyzed me with fear and set my own mind into a state of panic. And then I heard her. Daniel? Daniel, thank goodness I finally reached her. The voice was coming from inside the house now. Daniel, it's me, Sarah. Are you there? That's it? Dude, this part 2 better be crazy. Oh my gosh, this dude. Dude. Ooh, that dude. Okay. Holy twist. Holy twist. That was insane, dude. Like, are you kidding me? I'm very glad that I chose to do horror stories this week. I do want to give an update to you guys. There might be an episode next week. I know I told you guys last week that we'd be continuing with the weekly these Yap sessions. I'm not too entirely sure of what to expect. Over the summer, I will be doing an internship and I will be busy with summer courses. So do be aware that the Yap sessions might come to a pause in certain times, but I'm not giving up on the channel. I'm not giving up on these. The quality might shift because if I prefer doing them in a different format, whether I be on a drive or something like that, I don't know. Sometimes I feel like I could talk for a lot longer if I was in a car, as opposed to just sitting here, when I could be listening to my vinyl records that I got with my new record player. So thank you guys so much for listening to this week's episode. If you like it, please like the video. If you didn't like it, please be free to let me know and give me some sort of feedback. Like I said, I'm a new channel here with only 7 subscribers, so any feedback helps. I want to be able to be the best version of this channel as I could possibly be to give you all the best possible content. So with that being said, have a good evening, have a good morning, have a great night, have a good afternoon to those whenever you're listening to this. Be good people. Tell your parents, tell your siblings, tell your loved ones that you love them. Take care, guys.